Good evening. Let me share this. All right, tag my usual people so they'll know I'm live. I hope everyone's doing well. Hey, Derek, how are you? So tonight, we're going to talk about facing your fears. Facing your fears. And I thought about this because, I've been facing quite a few situations, actually, dynamics in my life that are changing, that are like scary, right? And anybody who knows me, they know that I'm like a highly anxious person. I always have anxiety about something. And so fear is definitely something that I think people struggle with in business. I think that the decision to get into business is a very scary one because you're betting on yourself and you may believe in yourself, but you may not be 100% sure that what you're going to do is going to work. You're not sure that it's going to work. You might feel capable or competent, but you don't want to like plant any seeds that would even make the universe make something not work, but you can't guarantee that business is going to be successful. And so there's fear involved, especially if your decision has to do with your primary source of income. Like if you're going to leave your job to go into business full time, if you're going to drop out of school to do business full time, like those are the kind of things that can be scary for people because you're like, what if I make the wrong decision? Or what if I'm not successful? What if I'm not good enough? I'll be honest, part of the reason why I went back to school to get my doctorate is because of fear. Fear and exhaustion, actually. I had been doing business for about 12, 13 years, and I was really burnt out. And I also was feeling like I was just, doing a rat race thing, but only on the business level. I felt like the industries that I was in and still am in, I felt like they were almost like a dead end when it came to the money part of it. As far as the contribution to society, that's great. That part helped me to stay in the game as long as I did, but from a financial standpoint, it wasn't great. And it was a lot of work. So to get the money that we were getting, it just takes a lot of moving parts, a lot of people. And I realized that was just something that was very challenging for me. And I just got tired and I felt like, I don't think I'm good at this. I don't think I'm good at supervising people. I don't think I'm good at being hands-on at the ground level of all these different businesses. It's just too much to try to juggle. And I was afraid that maybe I wasn't cut out to do anything better. Maybe I couldn't figure out anything better. And I really felt like from a business standpoint, I really couldn't. I didn't really know if there were things that I thought about, but there were just nothing that I was really feeling certain about. And so that's why I decided to go back to school and get my doctorate, because I said, well, at least if I get a very high level degree in a very high paying field, then I can make the kind of money I'm accustomed to making and only count on myself, right? It's like I can be a one-woman show. That's the kind of private practice that I could have had with neuropsych. I saw how it worked, and it was, I'm not going to say it was a piece of cake, but compared to what I was used to doing, it was a piece of cake. When I did my externship, I saw how the private practice ran, and it was one woman, and she had 2 externs every year for 10 months. So free labor, basically. And she didn't even have a secretary. We did all of that. So I was like, okay, this is going to be what I do. But it was almost like it was my just in case I don't figure anything else out in business. And the fear that I had was getting a lot of hearing a lot of messages externally from outside of my own mind, and having some of my own of just saying, you know, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough, or I'm too weak, or I'm an imposter. I'm not really, you know, cut out for this, right? Those were all the kind of thoughts that made me think, well, maybe I should just go in and just, you know, get a degree, get a higher degree, and do something where I can only depend on myself. I don't have to worry about managing people and working with people. You know, that was my mindset. And it was a lot of fear, because I felt like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure out another industry to get into that's going to be successful. You know, I don't really like to jump out there and just try anything. Usually, if I get an idea, and I get plenty of ideas, but I don't always act on every idea. Once I kind of research it a little bit, then I might say, nah, there might be something better than that. And so I do a lot of thinking, but the things that I actually act on, I have to have a pretty good idea and feel pretty confident that I can pull it off. There's always that fear, though. So the fear can be a motivator to do other things and to create other choices for yourself, which is not a bad thing. But if the fear is going to paralyze you and have you making no decision, I remember how miserable I was when I had my daughter. I remember it was like a blur. That period of time of my life was like a blur. I remember being so busy. Even though I was living in King George, I felt so isolated. I was always in my office. I was constantly working on paperwork for like modifications, tax stuff, putting out fires, trying to get the daycare to the next level from a distance, you know, and of course a newborn baby. And I think Julian might have been, he was 10 months when I got pregnant. So it gives you an idea. They're not very far apart, basically. So it almost felt like I had twins. And just, you know, I was miserable, but I didn't know what else to do. I hadn't thought about school at that point. That wasn't even anything I was even thinking about. And I just felt stuck. I felt, well, I don't know what else to do. So I'm afraid of being broke. You know, I'm afraid of not making ends meet. So let me just keep doing what we've been doing. Even though I knew I was not happy with it, I felt like I knew that I was capable of doing more. I just didn't know what. And I felt like because of having small children, at that time, I had 3 children in my household and a stepson who would come frequently. So it felt like we had 4 kids, basically. And it was just very, very stressful. So I knew they had to eat, though. And I didn't want to make any excuses about why my children don't have what they need and want in life. I don't want to be that parent. I've never been the parent that really had to tell my child no for anything unless unless I said no because of other reasons, but not financial reasons. So fearing being broke, fearing not having things made me just stay stuck in what I was doing. Stuck working with the same people that I was working with, even though I knew they, you know, may have meant well, but maybe we're not the caliber of business people that would help me get to the next level. I realized how isolated I was. I realized how I was not surrounding myself with other entrepreneurs. I was not networking. I did not have a spirit of positivity. I was absolutely miserable. And I just feel like the universe didn't open up for me because I wasn't really ready to receive anything, and I was scared to do anything different. So moving forward to present day, here I am with the decisions that I made. getting in school, putting in a good solid 3 years towards this doctoral program, and then the school shuts down. And so then I'm faced with a decision of continuing to pursue that at the new school. They have a lot of additional requirements, and I wouldn't have any problem with those requirements if I was like a single and childless. But I have children, and I need to make money, so I can't keep on being in school. When I'm in school, it's like I can't do anything else. I'm like a broke college student. I have to rely on other people to run my businesses for me, and I'm like at their mercy pretty much. And right now, dynamics in my life are changing where that's not an option. So I have a lot of fear that I'm facing now, but I'm going to face it. I'm going to face it, and I'm going to work through it. And that's why I'm getting into these new business ventures, because I have like a renewed sense of confidence in my business acumen, in my critical thinking skills, in my ability to focus and get things done. I'm back to the level of confidence, even more confident than I was when I first started Progeny. And I remember back then there were a lot of dynamics in my life that were changing, and a lot of fear and everything that was sinking in. But, it got me Progeny. So now I haven't felt on fire like this in a long time, where I'm just like, I want a little bit of this, I want a little bit of that. And I'm trying to make sure that I get my hands in all these pots to try to generate some additional streams of income, and to actually work with this compound interest situation, trying to make the money. I'm really focused on that. So it's a little scary, but I can't just be paralyzed. I can't let fear paralyze me. So how do you move forward when you're afraid? Well, fight or flight. I mean, your body will give you indications and make you feel a certain way if if you're fearful. But sometimes you do make the choice to fight and not flee, right? So making that choice to fight, make sure you're prepared for the fight. Okay, so you don't want to try to engage in something and you don't even stand a chance. So make sure you're prepared if you make the decision to fight versus flight. Okay, so facing your fears, pushing forward. One thing that will help you is the people around you and the people who are closest to you. What is the quality of your relationship with those people? Do they believe in you? Do they truly know you? Do they respect you? Do they want to see you win? Are they in your corner? Are they telling you you're good enough? Are they telling you you're strong? Are they, boasting about how great you are? Or do you have people around you that, maybe telling you you're not good enough? Maybe blunt like that, or maybe in an indirect way, making you think you're not good enough, making you think you're weak, that you're a person who will just crumble and can't stand firm in life and business. If you have people around you that are telling you these things, be careful, because it can really, if you're not careful, you can internalize those things and allow those things to guide your decisions, even when you think you're not, even when you think you're just ignoring the person, or you're yeah, whatever. Those things can get into your subconscious. So when someone's telling you these kind of things and they're close to you and they're frequent, you have to be careful with that, because that'll keep you paralyzed also, because you'll be constantly second guessing yourself, and not in the way that's productive. There's a way to second guess yourself where you're thinking critically about different outcomes, and you want to make sure that you understand there are different outcomes that can happen. But if you're second guessing yourself because you feel like you might not be good enough, then that's the kind of second guessing you don't need, especially if you're more than good, if you're great, especially for what you're talking about and what you're trying to get into. If you know you're great at that and anybody says otherwise, you know, it's worth considering if there's any validity in what this person is saying to you, and determining validity of what other people say. Um, think about the delivery, think about where it's stemming from, and is it really constructive? Is it constructive criticism or is it destructive criticism? And those things can weigh really heavily on you. So be careful about that. If you have anyone in your life that second guesses your, you know, ideas and decisions about doing business, and it leaves you feeling not in a good space, you may have to make some decisions, okay? You may have to protect yourself for a while until you can actually get in and do what you have to do without distraction. Sometimes you have to take steps forward and not even tell people what you're doing. Sometimes you have to make moves in silence just so that people won't really put out that negative energy, because people will do that. And so facing your own fear is hard enough. You don't need anybody else throwing in anything extra. But, you know, try it though. If you can do it without, consider your pros and cons, consider what the damage would be if things didn't go the way you wanted. You know, try to anticipate like those kind of things, and then just to determine what's really important to you. I'm beginning to think that there are people that are just born to be in business, born entrepreneurs, born leaders, right? I think some people are born that way, and I think other people are groomed to be that way. The ones that are born that way, I think that they're always going to gravitate back towards something that has something to do with self-employment, entrepreneurship, or being in business, making money moves. I think that person is always going to gravitate towards that no matter what. It's going to be like that little voice, you know, that's always there if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And that's kind of what I was feeling about school. I'm thinking, you know, this is my opportunity now to switch gears. Because of the circumstances under which the school closed, I'm eligible to have all of my student loans discharged because of the fraud, basically. But if I continue forward with the program and I use those credits to transfer somewhere else, then I can't get that, not for any of the credits. So it's like an all or nothing thing. But the timing of it is really interesting because it's right at a time where I have a couple of things on the table that I wouldn't be able to do if I was doing that program. I would have to table those things and wait before I could do anything. And because the program is being extended because of this new school, you know, it's just really that inner voice is telling me, don't be afraid, you know, believe in yourself. You can do a leave of absence from the doctoral program and you can go back and focus on the MBA. You know, I was in the MBA program, but I had to drop that because I couldn't do the MBA program and the doctoral program at the same time. Now I'm thinking it might be time to focus on the MBA because of some of the ventures that I'm involved in. It will be, I think that it would be very helpful because it would be with the concentration in finance and wealth management. So I'm like, maybe this is an opportunity. Maybe the school closing down is like a real opportunity versus like a tragedy, because a lot of students were upset or still upset, but I'm looking at it like an opportunity because the fear in me had me in school thinking that I needed to go that route, be a one-woman show, get my money by being, you know, a neuropsychologist, and that be that. Like, it'd be plain and simple. But I don't think that's who I was born to be. I think that could be a component of who I am, and I do believe I will get my doctorate, but I ultimately know that I'm a businesswoman. And I think right now I have to believe in myself and my ability to work with other people, inspire other people to believe in me and get on board with things that I'm doing. I have to believe in myself so that I can take this path, basically, because the path to that kind of money that I'm looking for and the kind of things that I want to do, I can't be a one woman show. And so I think maybe, you know, God may be trying to show me something that I needed to learn. And that is, you can't circumvent learning how to deal with people. You can't really, like, you can try, but the level you're trying to get to, that's not really going to be possible. And I think I had to really like realize that. So instead of me just stopping the businesses, I need to figure out how to make it work, how to get people on board, how to work with people. Not so much supervise people. I don't really want to be a supervisor, but when you're a CEO, it is like you're overseeing what the other executives are doing and everybody in the company. You have a responsibility to make sure that things are moving forward. So it feels like a supervisor, but I'm not going to pass the opportunity because I'm afraid to work with people. Um, I'm sure you all already know why there would be some fear in working with people. People are difficult. We all have our flaws and everything. So when you put people together to do business and involve money, it can get kind of crazy, depending on uh, the level of professionalism that everyone has, the level of maturity, and the level of business acumen. So when you start mixing in a bunch of people, especially if you're a person who has like strong leadership and has strong opinions, and someone like myself, if there's someone else like me in a group working with me, you know that might get challenging. That may be difficult because a lot of times when I'm on board with something, I like to have play a very instrumental role in the direction that the company goes in if I'm going to be a part of it. So working with people can be difficult. It can be difficult, but I think I have what it takes to do it, and everything has been going pretty good so far with the different ventures. We did give birth to the Snidget's Creative Corporation, and that is a series we're working on. It's actually a multimedia company, I guess is the official name. That's one endeavor that I'm doing that I have like high hopes, big dreams, you know what I mean? Kind of like very wishful thinking and really strategic in how we're going about things. I feel good about that. Got the articles of incorporation done, did the trademark application, did the trade name application. And so that is a formal entity now as of this past week. It's a formal entity, and I feel good about that. The other thing is this investment group that we're working on. We've decided that we're going to go with my idea of consumer lending, which is becoming like a lending company to small businesses. Um, we're gonna try. Will we succeed? I don't see why not. When I looked at the application, it didn't look not even half as difficult as assisted living and childcare. The regulations and everything, compared to what I've been doing, doesn't seem like much. The capital, the liquid assets they want you to have is not a problem. So I don't really see why, you all won't be. Maybe by next year this time, we'll have a lending company, and you could possibly be a part of it if you get in early, because we're still kind of like developing the group. No one has Only one person has made a formal commitment to do it with me, because they have all what they need on every level to be able to do it. Then I have some other people that are interested. So we're at that stage now where we're letting people in, and they're able to brainstorm with us and give feedback and suggestions about how the company can be structured, about how we're going to go about our underwriting process, We're all going to do research, bring it back, to the meetings, because we're having meetings every Monday at 9:30 p.m. And everyone's going to bring the information back. And I welcome you if you are a serious-minded individual and you have a clear background check, meaning you may be able to have some things, but I know for a fact you can't have anything like theft related, finance related, fraud related, nothing like that. Anybody that's a part of the company that has over a certain percentage of ownership, they have to be put on the application, and they do a background check. They run your credit. Basically, they're trying to make sure that you are in a position that you've handled your affairs in a way where you should be a lending company, or eventually like a bank, because that's the ultimate goal. I would love to see this thing materialize as a lending company, and if it goes well, become a bank. And I know that sounds, probably for some people, that sounds really extreme and crazy, but really it's not. If you pull up the information, which is public record, you can print out an application and see what is required to open a bank, and for some people it's definitely doable. For me right now, I'm not in a position to do a bank. That's on a different level, but I think the consumer lending would be a great thing. And of course, the fear factor is there, right? Because you're talking about lending money to small businesses, and you're making your money off of the interest from the loan. Or what if they don't pay back? What if they default? That's probably every lender is trying to avoid the default, unless they have some type of insurance that covers them when they have bad debt. But the fear, I remember some people that I've told this idea to, the first thing they think or they say or how they respond is like, yeah, but what if people don't pay the money back? Or people don't pay their bills? Like, yeah, I've thought of all of that. Like, if people default on the loans, then, with this endeavor, I'm ready to accept that I'm not going to put any money into it that I'm not willing to lose. Once I come to grips with that, then I can move forward, because I go in just thinking, what if people default? What if people actually pay it back? You have to consider some people are going to default and some people are going to actually pay. So the fear, people fear, like a lot of people don't invest in the stock market because they're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, or they've heard things about it, or they think it's some kind of conspiracy or something that is, beyond them. And so there's fear there. But I'm telling you, compound interest, making your money make money, is the secret to the big bucks. If you can figure it out, if there's some way that you can figure it out and you're able to get to a level where you can do these type of things, you can be well on your way. But you cannot be afraid, and you cannot be around people that make you, or trying to make you afraid, or instill fear in you. You can do it. So I know I'm pretty much, my decision is made that I'm not going back right now to finish my doctorate. Tough decision for sure, because it kind of makes it feel like the last 3 years were a waste. But I'm not going to look at it that way. I choose to look at it differently. I choose to look at it as if I have opportunities on the table right now that need my focus. And then if those things pop, I can always get back to school, So anyway, so that is my little talk on fear. And I'm not sure how many people are really engaged right now, but if you have questions or comments, I'm definitely here for the conversation. Let me know what you think about, has fear been a factor in you and what you've done or not done? Hey, Roxy. I see quite a few people have come in. I'll go back and see who's in here. Greg, Dad, John. Okay, yeah, some of my people I'm used to seeing in my Boss Up Challenge. Thanks for sliding through. You're afraid too? Yeah, hey, it's if you didn't have any fear, I'd be concerned. But paralyzing fear, that I do not have. Um, I have, and mine. I don't even know that I would classify them as fears. I have some concerns about how it's going to work, but not really fear. And I'm definitely not paralyzed. You push through the fear. Yeah, having enough time is the biggest thing, which could be fearful. Yeah, like being afraid to involve yourself in something when you're not sure you're going to be able to really commit or do what you say you're going to do. You like fearing that you might let other people down. You know, that could be an issue. I know that I don't do well when I'm doing too many things. And so I really do have to like watch what I put on my plate. Um, time. Thank you, Nico. I'm actually, you see, I'm pretty bummed out today. I didn't do really much of anything. Yeah, I didn't feel like getting dressed up. I just wanted to, um, I put my little lip gloss on and, make sure my eyebrows were straight. But besides that, I didn't do too much today. Um, because I just wanted to come to you all straight. You know that I'll tune in when I have a topic that I think it's organic. It's just what the things that I'm going through or thinking about day to day. Those are the inspiration for my topics now, unless someone actually sends me a request to talk about something in particular. But fear, yeah, just thinking. I've just been thinking that I'm witnessing fear in other people, and I'm experiencing my own fear on a lot of different levels. For the purposes of this platform, I keep it focused on business and not personal. But of course, you always know that there's always a personal component to any human being. And so we can always sit here and keep it professional and talk about business, but you know that things going on in your personal life are very, very impactful, very instrumental in how things play out for you. Um, I do know that when you like, I can't. I don't want to say I can't. I choose not to stay in school full time and not necessarily know where my next dollar is coming from. I choose not to do that because I'm on my own and I have children to take care of. There's nobody that's taking care of me. There's nobody that's going to take care of me. Nobody that I can trust to take care of me. Therefore, I can't make a decision to stay in school and not get back to business. And so like I said, things that are happening in your personal life play a huge role in the decisions you're making from a business standpoint plays a huge role. So time, having enough time. I do not have enough time to do the full-time program, do the midget project, and do the consumer lending project, and keep the other businesses that are already going. You say I can trust you? I hate to sound pathological, but I am very transparent with you all. I don't really trust anybody. Um, and remember, I was saying earlier in the video where I wanted to be a one-woman show and I didn't like working with people. Well, one of the main reasons I didn't like working with people was not because I did not like people. Um, but it was because of a lot of shady, mean, nasty things, disappointing things that people do repeatedly that made me start to not trust people in general, in business, personally, like just to not trust people. Um, can you do what you say you're going to do? I've seen that a lot. People say they can do things and then they can't do it. They don't deliver. And when you see enough of those kind of disappointments and failures, it becomes a trust issue because you have that fear. Fear is involved with the trust issue as well. So if I feel like I can't trust the people that I'm working with, then of course it would inspire me to want to figure out how to become a one woman show. Right? If I can't, when I say the people that I'm working with, I'm talking about, when you have like employees and people who know you, and despite your best efforts, you may have people that really don't mean well by you. Especially with women, we can be very catty. I say we, I'm including myself in it. We can be very catty and emotional at times and not supportive of one another. And I know that the bulk of my staff have been females. And just some of the things that people have done and said, you know, behind my back or even to my face, not often to my face, but things that people have done, it's just been really, it's just left a bad taste in my mouth. And it was, like I said, it was so bad that I got burnt out. And I was just like, you know what? This isn't for me. This is not, this is breaking me down. Like, there has to be something better. That's when I went to school. Trust is definitely an issue. But I don't distrust so badly that I'm paralyzed. Again, there's nothing going on with me that's so severe that I'm paralyzed right now. I'm not paralyzed. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. Hey, Chanel. But Derek, I think if it does take a degree of trust even on your end, you coming to be a part of the investment group, and you don't really know me, you know. Um, you don't know the other people in the group. But yet here we are, strangers. Some of us are not strangers, but here we are coming together. Everyone doesn't know each other. And we're talking about pooling our money together to become a lending company. And if it's something that nobody's ever heard of before or thought of course it's going to be scary. And I applaud you for actually giving it a shot, because I don't, if someone approached me with the idea, I don't know how I would receive it. It was my idea, so of course I thought it was a good idea, right? But if someone came to me with that idea, I don't know that I would join them in be putting money in. It would depend on that person's situation. Are they already in business? Do they have more money than me? Are they relying on me for the money? All those kind of things. You're doing hair right now? Okay. Yeah, we're talking about fear and how not to let it hold you back. You're going to have fear. There's going to be things that's always on your mind about what could go wrong or why you maybe shouldn't do something. But if you can push past your fears, it can be helpful. Because if you don't, then you're paralyzed by fear and you don't make any moves. And sometimes moves have to be made. Like, you have to make decisions and move forward. Something wrong with us women? Yeah, you should. I've been recommending that book, The Ways of the Superior Man. Um, I just liked it, even though it's about 20 years old. I just thought it was a great book in the way it made it even better that it was 20 years old, because he was thinking this way back then, and it's almost like he understood patterns. And some of the things that he explained in the book are things now that you can see 20 years later. You can see like the result of certain things. It's almost like he's able to, his book 20 years ago was a hypothesis perhaps, and now the last 20 years has been like an observational longitudinal study where you kind of see that a lot of the stuff that he was saying, in my opinion, is correct. And part of what he was saying was about the volatile nature of women. He really did hold women up in high regard, but he also, his message was to the men. This book was really designed for men to read. The only reason I even got my hands on it is because I watched the Nipsey Hussle interview on the Breakfast Club, and he said that Lauren London had recommended the book for him, and that it was like, I can't remember if he said life-changing or whatever, but it made me interested in, what is he talking about? Very good book. The Ways of the Superior Man. And it talks about masculine and feminine energy, which is something my best friend has been talking a lot about. Now I understand even more what she's saying, because the man is trying to say in the book that men and women both have masculine and feminine energy, but they're like on a pole, basically, two ends of a pole. So, and everything in between. So you have masculine, feminine, and then less masculine, less feminine. You know what I mean? So you have some men who have high masculine energy and low feminine energy, which they say is the traditional kind of typical normal way of presentation that you see. And then you have women that are high on feminine energy, low on masculine energy, and you have women that are high on masculine energy. And when they're talking about masculine and feminine, they're not talking about how you dress, how you talk, not even your sexuality. It's more about the feminine energy being more of a submissive, but not just submissive. It's other things that described it in a way where it's like the qualities that generally are associated with like a woman, right? But it's not, doesn't mean that only women have those qualities. And then the masculine things were more about power and strategizing and goal setting and achievement. That was masculine energy. And it said that men and women, if they're heterosexual, you should choose someone that complements the core of you. And the core, so you have to know where you stand with your masculine and feminine energy. The other thing he said was, so if a man is high masculine energy, he needs a woman that's high feminine energy. He doesn't need a woman that's high masculine energy also. Two people with high masculine energy trying to be romantic, according to this guy, doesn't work. And the way he described it made sense. So I think the book is really interesting for sure. What else did he say? Well, he said that the typical core of a person, if you're a man, typically the core of you is more masculine. You have more masculine energy. If you're a woman, you're supposed to have more feminine energy. He said that along the way, somewhere back in time, when roles started changing, I want to say probably around the time, it could have been, well, really even in slavery days when we talked about Willie Lynch, but also in the feminist movement, when women had to start figuring things out, when women had to figure out how to protect themselves or provide for themselves or have to lead, their core changed, right? And it went from what used to be more feminine energy to higher masculine energy. And now these high masculine energy women, they're it's difficult to be with the masculine man. Um, it's just, I don't know. It's just the way that he talked about it. I thought was really really dope. So yeah, so so I need a guy with high feminine energy. So this is what I discovered. Even though Sharnita, my best friend, already told me, she was like, you're very masculine. And I was just like, what? I was like, masculine, I mean, I know I was a tomboy when I was younger, but I wear dresses. I'm somewhat dainty. So I'm thinking like masculine is like, hey, like like you running around like that, but it's like no, like you're a CEO, you're a boss. You run your household. You're a shot caller. That's masculine. Those were things that were reserved for men, basically. And I'm like, oh, okay. So the guy in the book says that if you get away from what the core of you is, you become something that you're really not, right? And so that's why you might struggle when you have a partner where then maybe that partner had a core, and because of certain things they're not really what they were supposed to be. So you have two people coming together that are like imbalanced, and he says that doesn't work too well. But interesting enough, he said that if two people come in, because he said there is a such thing as one person being kind of balanced, where you have your masculine and your feminine energy. You're not like more towards one pole or the other. You're like right in the middle. He says that those people, if they get with another person that's like that also, those are the people who end up looking like best friends when they're married or a couple, but they're not passionate or have a lot of like romance. They're just really like they vibe. They're like almost like homies, but they're lacking the passion. He said in order to have the passion, you got to have one person on one pole and another person on the other pole. He even applied it to homosexuality. So he was saying like if there's a high masculine energy male, that they should choose a high feminine energy male because those are the two poles. But it was very interesting. You're right, a guy with high feminine energy. So what I think, Derek, is that I've 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 had I've had a couple of situations, and I would say that I've had that before, and that didn't work either. And what the guy in the book says, and I never thought of it this way, he says, so let's say the core of me really is feminine. Let's say that I was, you know, more higher on the feminine energy. But if things have happened to me in my life that has caused me to go towards the more masculine energy, now I'm not going to be attractive to a man with high masculine energy, apparently, because those men are going to want women who are high on the feminine energy. And he explained to men why they might struggle so much with infidelity or feeling dissatisfied in their relationships. And he's just like, before you do anything stupid, let me just tell you, your woman's getting on your nerve. You think she's not for you, but let me explain to you something. Most women, given that she at one point you thought was right for you, most women reflect what you give them. And he was saying that if the male takes the lead and he is who he's supposed to be, he said that most women will fall in line and flow freely, like, right. So he really put a lot of responsibility on the man, saying that that's what a high masculine energy male does. He leads with love. He leads with love, but he does not compromise himself or his values for a woman. But when he is dealing with a woman, he leads with love and make sure that, he said, if you start feeling like your woman's getting on your nerve or that kind of thing. He says it could be because with marriages, you have, even if you have one person on one pole, he said as women get older, you could have a masculine man and you could have had a feminine woman when she was younger. Now they're married, they have children, they have bills, she may have a job. And the older you get, the more you realize about life. He says that women naturally develop more masculine energy as they get older. And so he's saying that in your relationship, when people are married, you can, he said it depends. He said, like, if you might normally want a woman with high masculine energy that's hot, like is what he calls it. He says, but if something changes in your life, like you're like really stressed at work, something has changed on your job, now you're very stressed at work, now you have to, you feel like you're always under pressure and everything, and now you get home and you have a high masculine energy woman where now you feel like you just can't even handle it because it's just too much. A high masculine energy woman is like, like she's going to definitely be telling you what she thinks about what you're doing, what you should do, what she doesn't like, a lot of complaining, a lot of being vocal, that kind of thing, right? So he's saying that you might have other things in your life that are causing you to no longer be able to deal with the woman that really is right for you. It's just other things that are happening. It's causing you to perceive that that's not a good situation, and it's making you crave that soft feminine energy. Now that might be the work wife, right? That might be, somebody that used to be your friend who's convenient. It might be just, it could be somebody who is just not even generally your type, but because they are giving you that soft feminine energy and it's just what you need, it can really confuse men, is what he was saying in the book. He was like, what happens is if a man makes a decision and goes in the direction to get some different energy that he needs, if that's not the true compliment for him, it will only take but like a few months to realize that he no longer wants that energy. Now, let's say his job, things have cooled off at work, he's not as stressed. Now, all of a sudden, this very soft, feminine energy woman is like boring, drab, unambitious, and all of a sudden just not looking like, it's not what the man needs anymore. So the guy in the book was saying that people's needs change, but it's important to make sure you know what your core is and that you choose someone who their core complements yours. He talked about sex, and I mean, he just laid it all out there, and it was just very interesting to hear someone speak like that on those type of subjects. I thought it was pretty interesting. But yeah, I would say that I'm very high on masculine energy. And in relationships where I perceived a man had high feminine energy, I didn't like it. So what that's telling me, according to the book, what that's telling me is the true core of me is high feminine, but my life circumstances has turned me into something different. So now I have to really get back to my feminine essence. Got to get back to my feminine essence if that's what I seek, basically. If I seek to attract a man that is the kind of man that's going to provide, take care of you, lead the household, that kind of thing. That's kind of hard to, I don't know if I would. The things, I feel like the masculine energy, that's the part of me that makes me good in business. And honestly, I'm not giving that up for a relationship. Not one, not now, not at this stage of my life. Not a relationship that have not been positive. I would not. I mean, even my own motherhood and business, I have definitely, I've definitely been focused on business in a way that would make some people like question my parenting, question my maternal drive, right? But this book, again, now I'm thinking about the book and I'm like, I got all this masculine energy. It's no wonder why, you know, he said it's hard to feel maternal when you have all this high masculine energy, because you really are, you're not in that traditional role. You're not in a traditional role, so you just don't even have that traditional presentation, which I don't. I'm not gonna say I act like a man with my kids, but I would say, like with my teenager, I would say we have more like a father son relationship than a mother son relationship, in my opinion. But that masculine energy, let's tie it into the topic here about fear. Men that are, people that are high on masculine energy, they're more of the fight and less of the flight type of person. They're going to be your alphas, basically. It's going to be your alphas. So in business, I feel like the reason why people with high masculine energy tend to do better is because, not that they're fearless, but they move forward in the face of fear. Whereas traditionally, women who's supposed to have this feminine essence, we are looking to be protected under general, under traditional school of thought. Women are looking to be protected, right? So, and I'm not sure exactly how I feel about that. I mean, I see a degree of truth in it. I'm not going to say that everything in the book I felt was like just the gospel, but um, most of it to me, I think, made sense and added up. So he was basically saying, if you are not right with yourself and your masculine energy is not where it needs to be, it is going to be impossible for you to ever find satisfaction with any woman. It will be impossible, because you will be searching for something constantly that you will never find, because what it is inside of you that makes you discontent is more to do with your own balance of masculine and feminine energy. Hey sis. So yeah, I if I had to choose, like, I'll keep the masculine energy there. And my friend was like, you mean to tell me, like, if you met somebody rich and they were like, you don't got to do this, you don't got to do that, you still would be doing all this business? And I'm thinking, like, yeah. I I don't think I would work as hard, but yeah, I think it's in me. I think I would still be looking to do certain things, but it's hard to say, because maybe there is this person inside of me, deep down inside, that just wants to be a good old fashioned housewife. I don't think so, but I won't dismiss the possibility altogether. And one thing I don't like the masculine energy thing when it comes to parenting, if you if you took if you took my actions and my parenting style and erased the fact that I'm a woman and made me the man, the father, doing business the way that I do, going hard, and sometimes not having a lot of time all the time for my children. Um, if you made me a man and changed nothing else about my approach to parenting, I doubt that anybody would have any complaints. I doubt that anybody would judge as harshly, because it's like, almost like men have been given a pass. It's like understood that if they have to protect and provide for their families, that is the way that they do it, by working and by providing, right? So if a woman is being provided for and protected, then she would be able to tend to the needs of the child, and then the father would be providing and protecting, and then getting the time in when he can, right? I don't think that a man would be judged the same way. And this is why I think that female bosses are extra special, because we already kind of have, like, we're like fighting with one arm behind our back, like one hand is like tied behind our back as we fight, so you can protect too. So you have some, yeah, I mean, a lot of women have no choice, right? Um they either figure out how to protect themselves and their children, and then some never figure it out. Some don't figure it out. But right now, I think, me being 39, almost 40, at this stage in my life, I do think this is like who I am. I think this part of me that likes to do business, and I always had a good work ethic. I always was an overachiever. You know, I always, thought about ways to like keep money in my pocket, whether I was doing hair on the side, or a waitress, or selling blow pops in middle school. Yeah, I remember always actually wanting to have my own. So I don't, but that might also be because of what I saw growing up. I came up in a household with a single mother. Um, my father was around, but he didn't live in the household with us. And so what I saw was my mother going to work every day and struggling and paying bills and doing all the things that she did. And I think that plays a role. The guy, I think, did say that actually in the book, that plays a role too. The kind of models that people see. Hey, Toya, it's been a while since I've seen you, girl. So anybody have any questions about fear? If y'all get a chance, check that book out. It's on Audible, and the chapters are very short. Each chapter is like 5 or 6 minutes, so you can like listen to it while you're in the car. It's good though. Make sure I give you the right name. Where's my phone? Uh-oh. Let's see. I'll look it up on here. Make sure I got the name right. I think it's The Way of the Superior Man. By David Data. It says, revolutionary tools and essential exercises for mastering the challenges of women, work, and sexual desire. The Way of the Superior Man by David Data, Deida. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. If you get an Audible trial, it'll be free, a free 30-day trial. I pay for Audible because it's priceless to me. You're able to like check books in and out as often as you like. So yeah, the Audible is great because I can like listen to it when I'm in the car and running my kids around and things, like waiting at the bus stop. That's when I listen to stuff the most. I really like that book. In fact, if I had time and I wasn't so consumed with business and stuff, I would actually, if we had like a book club, I would love to have a book club. And like this would have been a great book to like generate discussion. Yep. I wonder how men would feel about the book. I know Nipsey Hussle said he thought it was great, but I wonder how my dad started listening to it. He was liking when he was hearing from the beginning. Okay. Any questions about the investment group? The topic today, fear, the book, anything business related. So tomorrow, Monday, and every Monday, for now, every Monday at 9:30, um, the potential members of the investment group will continue to meet. We'll continue to brainstorm, continue to um, figure out our vetting process, and then at some point, we'll know as a group when we're ready to solidify everything. I'm definitely moving forward. I will be incorporating and selecting a name and all of that, but that's part of why we want people to come to the meetings, because those are the kind of things that we'll be talking about, like how many shares should we have for the corporation, um, what is our membership criteria, how do we vet people, and then as far as just figuring out like our infrastructure. They didn't have it on iBook. Try Audible. You have Amazon. Amazon. I guess if it can I don't know. It's but Amazon Books. I guess is what it is. So you buy it on Amazon, but then you have if if it's available on Audible, then you can get it. It's somehow it's I can't explain how it works, but I know it's on Audible and Amazon. You can buy it through Amazon, and if you want an ebook, then you can use Audible. So Amazon flows through Audible. It's good. I think you'll like it, Derek. I think you'll like it. It should be interesting. If you do check it out, let me know once you've read it, and I love to discuss it, see what you think about it. Yeah, man. So fear. It's tough to deal with. I remember when I was afraid of getting on here and going live. I remember my first few times doing it. I felt very jittery and nervous. So that could have been a deterrent for me, doing that. But once you get used to facing your fears, it gets a little easier, in my opinion. Okay, we're going to call it quits. It's about 5 people watching, but no one's really asking questions or anything. So I'll wait like another several seconds before I get off. But yeah, Derek, hit me up individually and let's make sure our business is squared away. Want to make sure that Friday you should have been taken care of. I want to make sure everything went through. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? What we got in here? Let's see. Okay. I'll wait. I know Chanel is doing hair. You have any questions, Chanel? I know you would have to type it in and your hands are tied up. But you know you can always hit me up. Alrighty. Well, as usual, it was a pleasure talking with you all. Thank you for entertaining me on your Sunday evening. All right. Remember to boss up, face your fears, move forward with courage and bravery, and make sure you have the right people around you to inspire you to do so. All right. Good night, guys.